Psalms 23. It has 6 verses. A lot of people love to quote this psalm. A lot of people love this psalm. However, most people don't fully understand what Psalms 23 says, particularly the 4th verse. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Now allow me to use an illustration to explain particularly what this text is saying. I was approaching the highway, just about to merge, and I could see that there was a semi moving on the lane on which I wanted to merge onto. And I was so sure, as it is common practice, that the semi was going to move onto the next lane so that I could merge smoothly without slowing down or stopping before I could merge. However, the driver of the semi was determined that he was not going to move onto the next lane, allowing me a smooth merge onto the highway. Just at the point where I was supposed to merge, I saw that I was going to hit the semi, and so I moved off the road, so much that I was hit by the shadow of the semi. And I was under the shadow for a few seconds, and after I moved onto the highway. And when I was able to park, I got out of the vehicle, I looked around, and to my surprise, I didn't have a dent on the car, not even a scratch. Because you know what, friends? I was hit by the shadow of the semi and not the semi. Now let's go back to the scripture. Sometimes to understand what the text is saying, we need to understand what the text is not saying. The text is not saying, yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I will fear no evil. But it says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. You see, friend, if you walk through the valley of death, you come out on the other side dead in a coffin. But if you walk through the valley of the shadow, nothing happens to you. If you walk through the valley of divorce, you come out on the other side with an ex-husband and an ex-wife. But if you walk through the valley of the shadow of divorce, you come out on the other side with your husband and with your wife, because it's just a shadow. Now the rest of the text explains why it is so. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Now to understand that part of the text, you need to go back to verses 1. The Lord is my shepherd. Now, shepherd use what is called a rod or a staff to make sure the sheep don't get into danger, don't get into the ditch. Now, as I was approaching the highway, I was supposed to hit the semi, but his road made sure it moved me into the shadow and not the real thing. Some of us, most of us, when we notice that we are walking through the valley of the shadow of death, we stop praying. we stop praising God, we become miserable, we become grumpy, we lose all hope. But what we don't understand, my friend, is that all our lives, from the day you were conceived in your mama belly, you have been walking through the valley of the shadow of death. The devil has tried every trick in the book to destroy you. But his rod and his staff has moved you from real danger into the shadow. That is why the songwriter says, what have I to dread? What have I to fear? Leaning on the everlasting arms. Nginge sabani saying, nokuthula okuhle nanxa ngifika ekulingweni ngoyama, leaning safe and secure. Listen to me, my friend. You and me are safe and secure from all alarm. Though we walk through the valley of the shadow of the COVID-19 pandemic, we will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. I love this Jesus, don't you? I'm there, my boys. Thank you for watching, and God bless.